Brian Fritz here with Pete Dunne as we're getting ready for NXT on USA Network. Obviously, we've seen you a lot with the UK brand, but we're seeing you more when it comes to the US version of NXT. What's it like to go back and forth between the two, and what's the biggest difference for you?
So for me, I don't feel that much difference because the last 3 years I've been in all parts of the company. I've done obviously NXT UK, I've done main roster stuff, I've spent a lot of time here, so it doesn't feel that unusual to me. I will say the locker room definitely feels a lot more excitement and then also a little bit of pressure, but healthy. So in that sense there's a little change, but to me it's just business as usual.
Yeah, well, you're all in the same business, you're all under the same umbrella. Is there a little bit of competition between the two?
Yeah, and I think healthy competition is the way to go, right? Because there's competition in the entire wrestling world right now. Within this locker room, I know there's competition from NXT UK to here when the takeover rolls around, and I think that's the best thing right now is that there's so many talented people out there, and even in this locker room, think about how many talented people are there, but we've all got to stand out, and I think it's a very good time to be a wrestler, and it's probably even better to be a wrestling fan.
And I was going to say too, for yourself, you have not been in the wrestling business for too long, quite honestly. I mean, you're still very young. So what has this been like for you already at this point in your career to be at this point and see what the future might bring?
So I'm young, but I've been doing this for like 14 years now.
Yeah.
So I started at such a young age, and I've saw the scene in England, which basically didn't exist. And I've seen everything from there all the way up to being out there at the Royal Rumble in front of 50,000 people. So I really have saw the broad spectrum of pro wrestling, and I can honestly say that tonight feels like the peak of that. It's a fresh beginning in the sense of, next week we got to go all over again. But up till now, this is the biggest thing that we've ever done, especially for me, seeing so many different parts of not just this company but the entire wrestling world. And now this is the pinnacle. This is the biggest thing we've ever done. It's an exciting prospect.
Yeah. And during that period, what's it been like for you to see the American audience kind of get acclimated to you and embrace what you do?
Yeah, I think I was definitely in the right place at the right time in a sense. Coming in and being, the traditional way here now has become you spend some time in the independents and then you get signed here, you spend some time in the performance centre, then, you start getting on live events, you get yourself to TV, so on. Whereas my format was so different. I was picked up off the independents, relatively unknown, and then sent out there to a huge audience for that UK tournament. And then from there I've just bounced around and got to show sort of my brand of professional wrestling to the whole world in various different forms. So I've had such a unique career in that respect. Yeah.
When it comes to unique things, I think the UK audience, especially from an American perspective, are very unique in the way that as engaged as NXT fans are over here, the fans over in the UK just seem like they take it to another level. So what's it like to be part of that atmosphere, especially you're in a match and people are enjoying the match, but there's chants that are going on as well and people are having fun with it.
Yeah, it's obviously the best atmosphere, and I'll always be proud of coming in from the UK, and everyone says that, all the wrestlers, everyone always says they're the best crowds, and that's cool. I think it's a big part of how people like myself, Trent, Tyler, etc. got to where we are, because when you're watching at home, if you're an American fan and you're watching at home and we're wrestling in England and we're getting these crazy chants and huge reactions, we're going to seem like even bigger stars than you maybe thought. You're gonna start enjoying that match even further because of that audience. So I'm forever in debt to the UK audience for sort of heightening our talents, if that makes sense. And I'm always excited to go home and perform there, and hopefully we get to bring the new NXT brand back there at some point.
Has there been a particular chant or anything that's caught your attention in the match that kind of stood out going, what are they saying? What are they doing?
There's been some weird ones when I've wrestled Zach Gibson in the past, shoes off if you hate Gibson and all that sort of thing, and looking around and seeing everyone standing there with their shoe off. That was a little bit weird, but yeah.
Yeah.
But it's all part of the fun, right?
Yeah. And what's this journey been like for you, not only to do it by yourself, but Tyler's out there with Trent and everybody, guys that you've known and worked with in this business for a while.
So that's the special part of it for me, is to being able to do this with peers the whole time. It's one thing to be out here experiencing this by yourself, but to be able to be on the road with people I helped train Tyler, I've known Trent for years, and you got these bonds already formed, and then being able to take the next step with them every step of the way. I wish they was out here for this too, but I'm sure they will. I'm sure there'll be a time when either they move over or they'll be used, intermittently. So I keep going back to it, but it's an exciting time, and the best part of it is doing it with your friends.
Yeah, you talk about helping train Tyler. Can you ever imagine somebody being that good at that age?
Yeah, he's ridiculously naturally talented, and I think that match with Walter proves just how good he is. I think we all know how good he is, but because he's quite fun, low-key, laid back, I think sometimes people forget. And I think being able to give that opportunity where, he wouldn't have been able to main event a takeover here just yet, for the most part, right, because of NXT UK. So being able to have that opportunity back there and have a takeover as your own, you're the focus, go out there, and I think he showed the world just how good he really is.
So what's it like being in the ring with Walter?
Yeah, it's different, right? It's I like a challenge. I'm back in England, like, even though I'm over here, I'm average or on the smaller side. Back in England, I'm one of the bigger lads on the show, so I get sort of acclimated to wrestling a certain way. So I'm always up for a challenge, and being put in there with somebody like Walter is always it's entertaining for my own sake, being able to do something different, and hopefully that translates out to the audience, and it's just an unusual dynamic. Obviously, it hits really hard, but that's part of it for me. I hit right back, so that's the way I want my matches to be, and it's always fun.
So the last thing, who are some of the guys that we see in NXT UK and even some of the other people in the UK that you think are deserving of a bigger opportunity we should be on the lookout for?
So as far as NXT UK goes, people like Zach Gibson, I think he's relatively untapped. He's had a few matches with people like myself, and he's done well with the tag team titles over there, but I definitely think he has a huge upside. Someone to me is Mark Andrews. I think he's just like myself, he's a career professional wrestler. He's going to be around for a long time, and every time he's going to put in a fantastic performance. Someone like Wolfgang is drastically improved. He's probably the biggest improvements I've saw in anybody in the entire company over the last few months. He's doing great. And then outside of NXT UK, there's people like, I wrestled Cara Noir a few weeks ago at Progress, just before I came out here, as sort of a swan song to the British independent scene.
Yeah,
it was amazing to be in there with him, because he's an up and coming guy, but he's got a whole unique character worked out, and the people are invested in him, and he's in the ring is fantastic. And there's younger kids, like there's people like Connor Mills, who he's far from the finished product, but in terms of potential there, it's just hugely untapped potential, and I guarantee in the next 2, 3, 5 years, whatever it takes, everyone will know his name, and he'll stand out like a sore thumb.
Awesome. Well, thanks for the time, man. Appreciate it, and continued success.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.